Welcome to the Metal Prognosis. My name is Lee, and on today's video we are looking at the HellBeast plugin of VST, which is a virtual instrument by the company Audio Assault. Now, I've done a couple of videos on this company already, or the company's products, being the Grind Machine and the Grind Machine 2, the second one. And as much as the name doesn't really sell much of an evolution, it really was. They were very different outlays and how they approached it and put it together. So I'm really keen now to see how the HellBeast is going to work as well. So if you didn't see the other videos, all they did was I've got a recording of some dry guitars, so I just put straight through my mixer there and just captured it on the computer. And from there, we're going to see how much we can evolve it and make it grow, and yeah, kind of just explore this HellBeast together to see how it sounds and what it can do and its capabilities. And yeah, then we'll have a chat about it afterwards. So let me reset up the camera. I'll get a screen capture happening on the computer, and let's start putting it all together and see what fun we can have. All right, now I've got everything set up, ready to go. So this is the same session as the last couple I did. So let me give you a quick tour if you didn't see those ones there. So I've got some drums here, which I took off an album that I mixed a while ago and produced. So yeah, the drums are... they sound good, which they should, because they came from the final. So I just mix them down to audio just because it's easier for these videos and for these examples. Not that you would approach it this way if you're doing another type of project. I've got a bass here, which I've got a nice bit of grind and bite to it. So that's good. But the main thing we're here for is the guitars. So the guitars, this is just the naked guitars here, so there's nothing happening here but the actual recordings that I've taken from them. So just to give you an example. Not much volume, not much oomph to them, not much anything, and not much characteristics. That's what naked guitar sound actually sounds like, which is why amps are so important with their tubes to actually amplify it and to go through all the different tubes and everything to make it sound the way it does. And what we are going to do right now is get this HellBeast happening so we can hear how it actually sounds. So we do the usual trick where we get one of the channels and put them in the center so we can hear it right, mute the other one, solo the guitars. So I've got that coming through the center. And now let's bring on this HellBeast. HellBeast. So I had a quick look at this beforehand. Not a major look, just because I need to put in the registry code and that. So I did give myself a little bit of a tour, but I actually haven't had a chance to really delve in deep to see what it can do. So this definitely looks really, really cool. So first we have the amp head here. It looks like we've got 3 different channels, which is nice. A kill switch. Don't know what the kill switch does, but we'll find out. We've got the stomp. So here are our pedals, so which is cool. Got a nice gate to control the sound. Now all of them have had a gate so far. They've normally been up the top here, but I like how they did it. Having it as a pedal just makes it more user-friendly, a little bit more comforting visually and working with it. Got a nice boost, which is cool. And a drive as well. So definitely more than what either the Grind had in these regards. Got the amps, got the cabs, and this is very interesting. So you can actually blend different cabinets together, which we'll try out later to see, or in a moment, to really, I can really show you how, if you haven't seen it already, the different type of sounds you can get by splicing things together. Oh, really cool. It got phase as well. So you can check to see what frequencies are being cut out and what are in phase and which are out of phase. Because when you match up 2 different cabinets together or 2 different speakers, And when they're out of phase, they cancel out certain frequencies. Sometimes it can be absolutely amazing. You can come up with some really creative and cool stuff. Other times it just kills your sound and it sounds like crap. So you need to work around that. But main thing is you know it's there and you are wary of it. And we have an effects one in this one, which we didn't have before. So they're giving us some nice, I don't know if it's nice, but we've got some reverb, some delay, a nice graphic equalizer. So I guess that comes after everything, which is pretty cool. So if there are some frequencies we don't like, yeah, we can deal with it all in-house, which is, yeah, I don't mind that. That's pretty cool. So like all the other ones, we'll do the same thing where let's just push play and see how it sounds. And so default without touching anything. Let's see what we get. Compared to that. All right, so default's not that impressive, but let's see if we can spruce it up by giving it a bit of boost and maybe stack the drives a bit, the gain. So we've got the gain coming through the amp. Everything's set at high noon, so we'll just leave it like that for now. All right, they got depth back, which I think in the grind too, they called it, I remember what they called it, impact maybe? I can't remember. It was titled something else. So that's cool they got depth back because that kind of makes more sense. So firstly, actually, let's check out to see what the different channels, how they react. All right, clean is obviously the weakest. Go away, counting. All right. So I'm not sure what R and S stand for, if it's lead rear and lead front. I'm not sure. Let's say for now it is. So let's see how we can, we'll leave it on lead front because that seems to be the most push. So let's see what the kill switch does. Not sure at the moment, didn't hear that much of a difference. So let's give it a bit of a boost. I like how they're giving you two different frequencies to muck around with. That's pretty cool. But it doesn't make that much of a huge impact. It makes enough to warrant it. So I definitely don't want to rip on it for that. Let's add some drive. All right, so that's really interesting too, how the gate is a lot more responsive compared to the previous ones. So if I just lower that down, or straight away, if I lower it all the way down, we can hear the hiss coming through. But if we leave it to here, which there's not much hiss at all, you can still hear it in between those chords there, where when we cranked it up to the -50, go back and play that part again, you'll hear it gets rid of it in between those chords, those held chords. Without actually taking any of the characteristics and the aggression away from the sound. So full credit there. All right, the gate didn't work during that squeal. So I rolled it back a bit, so now I've got the squeal. A little bit of sneaking coming through, but I don't mind that because I prefer, and this is a compromise you do need to make when dealing with high gain stuff. And in this case scenario, it is, do we want the squeal or do we want the full silence in between the chords? And in between the chords, there's not enough hiss to really justify missing out on the squealy note. So for this case scenario, we'll keep it in like this. Okay, so now let's go. Now we could muck around heaps with this as well. I mean, there's heaps we can do here. So I did check out something before because it really took my attention when I very first loaded it up, but I haven't actually heard it yet. It had a home folder. That's fine. So we're at the home. Don't know what that one is, but it had a plus here, and I was like, an import thing. So I was like, wow, bring in your own. So I did that. So I loaded up two ones from Coffee Audio that I got a while ago. So we'll check out to see what the house ones are like, and then we'll see what it's like adding in third-party ones. Because in the previous ones, the grind machines, we didn't have that option. We only had their cabinets, and that was it. So let's start mucking around with the cabinets because this is what's going to make the most sound. So, or the most effect to the tone. Now here with all the different settings, really, really cool. So they've got different options on if you want it closer to the center or if you want the microphone to emulate going closer to the edge of the speaker, because that makes a huge difference. Looks like we've got distance here as well. If you want the mic closer or further away, that's really, really cool because that's handy. So looks like you can really shape your sound a hell of a lot more compared to the grind machine. You can pan them if you want to do like stereo or do a bit of a blend to have different dynamics, which is really cool. Yeah, and you can even just have the main blend if you want both of them or just one. So that's really cool. So let's stop babbling. Let's start hearing. So HellBeast first one, and I'll just scroll through as it's playing, then we'll see. I should turn this up a bit because I'm noticing there's not much level coming out. Take it back to the start. There's heaps here. I can just keep going through and through. It's really, really cool. But what I want to do now is let's start blending too, just to get an idea of how it could sound. So if we had... Let's say this one we really like because I picked it just right now, randomly. Semi-randomly because it's on that thing. So this is nice and got a lot of nice bottom rich end to it. But now we need a bit of like top end to kind of cut through to give it that nice grind. So we put that on 50-ish. There we go. So now we've got both speakers kicking in. So now let's see if we can find something that's a bit more bitey. Maybe that. All right, so let's say we're going to select that one. Now I have no idea what it's based on or any of these stuff because it's just, yeah, I don't know. So let's listen to this last part here and I'll drop a mic in and out or a cabinet so you can hear the difference. So it's really cool how you can emulate splicing how much of one you want. So if these are the two like perfect mics that you had that you were using on these cabinets, like two different setups, you can really help shape your tone how you want it. Do you want more bottom end dynamic with it to really get those palm mutes like pumping, or do you want something a little bit more cut through and a little bit more aggressive with the high end stuff? Because you might love that high-end stuff and be like, still a little bit empty. Well, in that case, you can just drag this back a little bit. And slowly add in however much low-end dynamics you want for it. So now let's have a look at the amp settings and let's see if we can muck around with these a little bit to just shape it a little bit more. Don't know what the kill switch does. I can't tell the difference between it at the moment with all these settings. So yeah, it stays a mystery. Back to the start. Yeah, it's sounding all right for the little quick little playthrough we're doing. So, I mean, none of these really need reverb or delay, but for argument's sake, this is what the delay is going to be. Sync it up. Here's a solid delay. Reverb. Yeah, they're solid. Not going to go too much in depth of that because this isn't really calling for it, but let's try the EQ. Yeah, these artificial knobs, if you want to call them sliders, they're really comfortable to use actually. I don't mind them at all. Get that nice like Metallica scoop happening. All right, so that's sounding really good, but let's push on because it's going to go a little bit longer than the other videos because there's a hell of a lot more involved. So now we do the Cubase trick, which we get that. No, we get that, and we can copy it straight over so we get the exact same settings in the other guitar. So let's do stuff. Bring that guitar back in. Let's have them left and right, and let's hear they sound now doubling up on the guitars. Now they're sounding very full and dynamic, which is really cool. And with the mid scoop pushed out, because we have a fair amount of bite in the bass, it should fit in nicely. So let's listen to it again with the full band complement. So there's countless more things we can actually do, but we will do one more thing before we push on. Is let's chuck in these coffee speakers. God, what one did I click on? I can't remember what I clicked on. Go back home. So go for the K's on this side, and the vintage 30s on this side. And we'll do the same technique as last time. So we'll get, I'm just purely guessing here. So we'll get the E609 for our bottom richness, and then we'll bring in a 57 for the cut through for the higher pitch stuff. And let's not change anything else from that. So that was that. So what I do is I'll be a bit cheeky. Get rid of that one. Do a straight copy and paste again. So I've got the exact same settings across. And now let's listen back and see. Well, let's see if it's listenable first because it might not be. So let's check that out before we move on. so that's really interesting. I just want to do that as kind of example to see how they would blend and how they would work together. So I don't want to delve too much deep into that because otherwise this video will never end and I'll just be here all night going, wow, look at all this stuff we can do. So let's have a listen to it all now with the Coffee audio cabinets lined up with the HellBeast. All right, so just like I said, the same thing with the grind machines as well. Is there's anything you don't quite like with this? Let's say you feel like the boost isn't boosting enough. This one here, sorry, the boost isn't boosting enough. You can easily drag it down and bring in your own type of boost to use to see. If you don't like their EQ spectrums, you can easily do the same thing. Like I love bringing up my guitars in my guitar group here and putting through like an SSL channel to use that type of EQ and that type of approach to it. Or I might just want to use this EQ here. You might be more familiar with this one here. You've got plenty of options on how you want to approach it. So the fact that the HellBeast has different effects and all that, the EQ curves, like they worked really well and are really easy. And I feel like they give something different to the in-house EQ that Cubase have. And don't get me wrong, I love the in-house EQ that they have on here, but it's really nice that there's two different options. So I can use this one to approach it differently, get slightly different results, and shape my tone differently, which then in effect means we're more creative and we're going to be able to do more stuff, which is cool. So I think I'll leave it here for now with this, because I could definitely keep going on for longer, but let me reset up the camera and then we will touch base on some final thoughts. So that's the HellBeast by Audio Assault. A very, very cool little plugin. So let's run through a few of the different things, some of the highlight parts. The layout, so visually and how they set it up for you to navigate through was super straightforward. I really liked how they had the chain all set up nice and easy to comprehend, where you had your stomp boxes first, or your pedals, the amp head, the speakers or the cabinets, and then your effects at the very end. So it's not as in-depth as some things, how you can swap them around and really be creative in that regards, but didn't really need to either. Stacking the distortion, the gain stacking, was really straightforward and simple. They didn't clash, they actually helped emphasize it. The boost wasn't as strong as what I would like it to be, but I don't want to say it's bad though. I think I just like extreme boosts. So I think that's just more of a personal preference of mine. So definitely nothing against the company, because it did really well for what it was. The cabinets, I mean, there was a bucket load of choices to choose from what speakers you want to do, and because you could actually blend them without touching any of the other settings, and that the different amount of combinations you could have is ridiculous, in a positive way, ridiculous. And we didn't even touch base on mic placement either, because it had the option there to emulate moving the mic, say we've got the speaker here, moving it closer to the middle or to the edge, or how close or far away you want it as well, because that creates different space, different air, and very, very different sound. So you can really home in on what you want. And blending the two different cabinets differently too, not just 50-50 like we did, for the purpose of the video. So the amount of different customization you can have with it and creativity of just and how to create a tone, are very, very impressed by. Very impressed. Now, just like the grind machine 2 that I did, and now the HellBeast, I still haven't spoken to Audio Assault, so no affiliation other than the fact that I bought it and I use it, but no sponsorship, no endorsement. So these thoughts are absolutely my own. Before anyone gets that little ticket in mind going, are you getting paid to say it's good? No, I'm not. It's good, it's decent. Super easy to get a good sound, but not as impressive with the default sound. So as soon as we turned it on and put it there, it was a little bit, not sure, which got me a little bit worried, because when you get a weak signal like that coming through, I think, is this going to be a not crash hot result type of video I'm putting together for you? But that wasn't the case at all. As soon as we started gain staging it and selecting the different cabs, really opened up, and especially with the depth, when we opened up the depth and the presence, it really opened up the sound amazingly, and we got some really cool results from it. So if I were to do a recording, whether it be like for an EP or an album or something like that, and the HellBeast was up for a vote, so to speak, to get the guitar tones, I'd have zero quarrels using it to get a nice foundation sound to work from. And this is the only stuff we dealt with today was just all in-house too, so let alone all the other really cool stuff that you do with every guitar recording that you do, the post EQing, the post mixing to really blend it in with the mix and all that. So it doesn't matter if that's analog or if you're using something digital like we did just in the box, you still do those beautiful rundowns when you're doing your mixing production anyway. So the sound that we got, the foundation sound straight off the bat, was really solid. And the fact that you could implement your own impulse responses or third-party impulse responses into it, as we did for the last playthrough, is just so user-friendly. Because unlike the grind machine, and other apps do this as well, other virtual instruments, they normally just give you the option to turn it off, and then you can pull in a different virtual instruments that just do speakers, and then marry them up that way, which is no problem. A little bit, one extra little step, but in the overall scheme of things, it's not much work to actually do that. But the fact they kept it in-house, and because it's in-house, mixing with the blending and how they do it and having their different characteristics and how they respond and how they can do it, I think is very special. And I mean, if I had a hat, I'd definitely be tipping it to them right now, because they did an excellent job on putting that together. So navigate it really well. Visually, it looked really well, very easy to get your heads around. I'm a big fan of analog visuals as well. So the closer it looks like to it, the easier I find to be able to navigate through it and find my way. The EQ that they had at the end, I thought was really good, which I think I spoke about during the actual, while I was mucking around with it. It gave a different type of response to the EQ that Cubase has in-house. And you can absolutely blend them together as well. But the fact that I could run through that really quickly to see what type of frequencies I would like to add or subtract to really create the sound that we did. And having that nice mid-scoop was really cool. And as we saw, like, as much as this is the longest video, in the overall scheme of things, though, it was very quickly that I got that sound. Very quickly, which is good, which is what you want, because you want to invest time on playing and doing other things, not just being honed down too much on this. So yeah, that was a really fun video to put together, and a good little mini-series I just kind of stumbled into with Audio Assault. It's just because the grind machine, the original one, popped up in a couple of my videos here and there, but I've actually never given it a real big spotlight, so to speak, and put it under the magnifying glass to go, let's really look under the hood to see how this reacts to all these things. So yeah, definitely a cool little thing that I put together here, and hopefully you've enjoyed it as well. So I'm going to do my usual sign off now. So thank you very much for joining me on this conversation. It's been lots of fun. And just like the other videos I did with the audio assault, I got a slight, very minor injury, which is very minor, but it's just enough so I can't play guitar. So it's really cool I could do this video, and gave me really a pleasant excuse or inspiration, I think is a better phrase, to bring these to light, to the forefront, to give them a shot. Because I thought it'd be really cool to do, but yeah, playing normally just takes over because I like to actually play the guitar. So a good opportunity to put this together. So whether this video is in the foreground or the background, I absolutely appreciate your company. And I really look forward to chatting with you again next time. And until next time, please stay safe.